Well, this is the leanest screenplay I've ever written, so it was designed that way from the beginning. I heavily outline these things before I start typing into a computer, so I kind of know each scene. I know the transitions between each scenes. I know when information is given, when it's not given. So it was definitely a calculation. It's not a calculation that always works, and I'll be the first to admit that. It's just kind of this deal that you make with yourself as a storyteller. You're gonna get some things and leave some other things behind, but hopefully the subtext remains. I have to have this boy that at some point becomes aware. A switch is flicked, and he understands his place in the universe. That's going to be really difficult to buy, and this boy really has an awareness like that. So if he can handle the back half of the film, which I think is the trickiest, I'll handle the front half. I'll just mute him. I'll stick his nose in a comic book and not have him talk very much. And then at some point he wakes up, and Jaden had that.
I feel good about Jaden. He feels like a grown up in a child's body. In fact, he may actually be 45 and just tricking us.
Dad, it's okay.
I knew I wanted two guys in a car driving really fast down a southern back road in the middle of the night. I wanted them to have night vision goggles. I even knew I wanted a boy in the back seat with superpowers. All these things kind of came first, but I was well into the plot before I knew what the movie was really about. And not to get too heavy, but at the time I was a new father. My son was about 8 months old. And once I realized that that's what parenthood was about, that kind of became the trajectory for Mike Shannon's character. That kind of became the trajectory for the film. And all of a sudden my cheesy sci-fi chase movie started to have some relationship to an emotion that I felt was palpable enough to actually get transferred to an audience.
He was abducted from his home near El Dorado, Texas.
It's time, you ready?
Yeah.
It was a real page turner, like in the true sense. Like Jeff was establishing these questions and holding off on the answers, and then he'd give them at the right time, and yet at the time he got the answer there'd be a new question. And amongst that he was managing to create these great characters who also weren't over-explained, and therefore I could imagine as an audience you were sitting there going, I'm a part of creating who these people are because I get to fill in the backstory. And it's nice to play supporting characters because they're quite often the most interestingly fleshed out characters. So I don't have an ego about what place I hold in the movie.
And Joel is the lead in my next film. He really is. The reason why I don't explain the ends of my films in situations like this is because it's for you guys to decide. I don't know. I don't. I try and give people an opportunity to activate their own imaginations. And so I'm going to try and leave it at that. And you guys can call me a sucker, but